Whew, y'all. So while I'm driving to work today, I just wanted to talk to you about, I guess, having a therapeutic conversation with your client. And this is something that I observed the other day, so I just wanted to come and talk to you guys about it. Oh, we are back to the snow, y'all. Let me just get out of this driveway real quick, and then we can start our conversation. So the other day, one of my clients came in, and I was working with somebody else, and my client started talking about their job and like how excited they were for their job and all of that, right? And my coworker decided to bring up the fact that the establishment that the client works for does not necessarily support gay or transgender individuals. So, and the client is transgender. So the client addresses that and addresses what my coworker says, but then starts still talking about how much she loves her job and she doesn't care because money is money, or he doesn't care because money is money. And my coworker again brings it up and keeps bringing it up throughout the conversation until the conversation switches to being gay or transgender. Now, one thing I have learned, especially when working with, I guess when you see it, when a person comes to see you and you see something maybe in their history, or they let you know something that you think might be the issue, or like say, like in this instance, if the person came to me and they told me that they were transgender and I assumed that all their problems stemmed from them being transgender or not being accepted by society, I would be wrong, because that's not, I don't know that's what the person is coming to me for, because that's not what they told me. In this instance, the client was talking about his job and how much he liked his job and how much money he was getting and how many hours he was getting, and he was glad for the hours and glad for the money. So at that time, it was neither my place or my coworker's place to then keep bringing up the topic of being gay or transgender. I'm not using them interchangeably, I'm just saying. So I engaged in the conversation until it turned into a conversation about being transgender and being accepted and all of that. And then I shut my mouth and did my reading, because I have no dogs in that fight, okay? That I don't know enough to have an opinion, so I'm gonna stay out. So they started having a whole conversation about how they, I guess Christians are crazy people, and how, I don't know, just a lot of things that, they don't understand how people could believe that, all sorts of things about Christians, Christianity, all that, and not believing in God. Then they're sitting there talking for like a good 10-15 minutes, and I have said nothing, unless I've made like little comments, but nothing about nothing about that specific topic. Anything else, like if I felt like I should interject or like give like a little, I don't know, then I said that part. But for the large part of the conversation, I was not involved. Then the client turns to me and then says, well, what do you think? And I was like, if you have noticed, this whole time I have not said anything. And you guys just sat here and said that you don't believe in this, you don't believe in that, so why would I even share my opinion now? Also, for your age group, I'm talking to the client, I was like, your age and the fact that you're a client, I will not have that conversation with you, because I have put up that specific boundary within my work and what practice I'm going to continue doing. So I'm not having that conversation with you here or at my other job where I work with adults, unless the adult comes to me and asks me specifically about Christianity. And even then you have to be careful, because individuals with schizophrenia tend to focus on religion a lot. So even that you have to be careful about. So I'm not having that conversation all willy-nilly. And especially for a group of 16-year-olds, I will not have that conversation with you, because again, that is my personal boundary, and I know my beliefs. I'm not forcing it down your throat, but I know what I believe. And I was like, as for everything else, I cannot say that you're going to hell, because I don't have the authority, right? So, and I'm not up here trying to force things down your throat, but that I was like, so you don't really want to know what I believe? Like, you don't know what I want to believe because you've already said that you don't agree with what I believe in. And even my coworker, when I said it, I will not have that conversation with you, she was just like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's a boundary. You're a client. I can have that conversation with my coworker all day long. And my coworker identifies as an atheist. So I don't care. I can have that conversation with an adult who is consenting and who does not live in the facility. But I'm not having a conversation with a client who in a spiteful moment could be like, oh, and she was trying to tell me about this, and that. No, because even though we have cameras, there's no audio. So it would be my word against the client's, and there'll be an investigation where I might have to be removed out of the facility until it is concluded, right? So to save me all that trouble, and since I know what I believe and know what I know, that's just it. So all this to say, I was going to make this 2 videos, but it all ran into one because it's one topic. Be careful of how you're questioning your clients. Don't edge them into a corner to talk about something that you want to talk about. Only focus on what they want to talk about. Reflect and listen to what they are saying and what they want to talk about. And don't come into a conversation with your own agendas, because that is what I witnessed in that conversation. They wanted to talk about something and they set up the conversation so it could be talked about, and beat the issue until the conversation was about what she wanted to talk about. So don't do that. That's not therapeutic, and it's not professional. It's not ethical. And for some people who maybe have not had the training or the education, that's fine. So maybe if you're watching this video, just keep that in mind. Don't set up conversations so you can have a conversation. The whole conversation is not about you. The whole conversation is not about you. And be aware of where you are. Be aware of who your client is and their age group, and then their level of mental functioning on top of that. Just because an individual is 21 on paper does not mean they present as 21. It can have the same conversations that you would have had with another 21-year-old. Even then, they could be 21 and present as 16, present as 15. So then what do? They're not going to understand the things that you're trying to tell them on the level that you're trying to tell them on. You're going to have to break it down a little bit further for them to get it, and maybe repeat yourself a few times. And even then, working with a younger set of people, when they're 16, they might present as 8, because that's when their trauma happened, and that's where their development just stopped. They just stopped, and that's it. Until they can get over it, maybe they can continue on their development. But for right now, they are 8, and you need to not treat them as such, but keep that in mind when you're working with people. That's it. And then, speaking about being 16 but being 8, the conversation came up again with another client, and I stopped talking as soon as she started talking about how she doesn't believe this, and the Bible has been written so many times, and I shut my mouth. And my coworker got it that time, and she was like, well, that is a conversation for another day. And I was like, it sure is. And I remained quiet until the conversation changed, because I'm not going to sit up here and have a conversation with you when you're not. You can't tell me something when you don't even know the basics. Like, I don't know. There's so many things that I want to say. I don't know. It's just a very touchy subject. I will only have that conversation with who I see fit. And it's just part of navigating the world in any workplace, navigating what you think. Like, I can let people know. I'm not ashamed or afraid to let people know that I'm Christian. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like, oh, and the Bible says this here, and the Bible says this there, and you need to believe blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing that, because that's not, even if it were my place to win you over, is not going to win you over, that approach. So I know when to hold my tongue and when to keep my place, okay? And I think that's a good thing to learn in this field. Not on religion, not just on religion, but other things in general. There's a time to listen, okay? And to know what is going on. And, oh, girl, this is a 10-minute whole video. I didn't even mean to come in and do this. There's a time to listen and be quiet. And then there's a time to speak. When you speak after you have listened and remained silent, your words have more effect. take that into everywhere you go. Okay, bye.